Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of my weekly news and opinion. Hope you all enjoy this kind of stuff. Seems to get some relative views, I guess. So this week, I'm gonna talk about the Twitter hack and the Bitcoin scam associated with it. It is significant. If you know from my, if you've been a long time viewer, you probably know I was involved in Bitcoin. I'm kind of retired. I'm a retired Bitcoiner. Not really. You never retire from anything, but technically, I guess I'm retired. But I like to share a story with you and how it relates to the whole Twitter hack and the Bitcoin quote unquote Bitcoin scam associated, and how it relates to current events. Current events. So stick around for that. Another thing I'll talk about is the Portland CLAT, or the CLAP, the Portland CLAT, no, CLAT, Portland CLAT. It stands for Chinook Land Autonomous Zone. My goodness. And I'll talk about that. You're literally starting to see the counter revolution, the counter insurgency occur. Portland's a really hot spot for the insurgency. That needs to be put down immediately before it gets worse. It can get worse. So, and some of the other things, uh, unmarked black unmarked vehicles or vans with unknown police officers or law enforcement arresting protesters. What does that mean? What does that mean? There's a lot of talk about it. I think it has much to do about nothing, but I will get into it and some of my opinions about it and maybe some theories. All right, and last thing I'll talk about is the Black Lives Matter mural in front of Trump Tower in New York City has been vandalized again. Vandalized again with blue paint. The first time it happened was with red paint, and so you're starting to see the counter revolution, the counter insurgency. And if you look at it, these aren't radical right wing, you know, fascist neo Nazis. These are just regular people. All right, from what I've seen the videos of the vandalism, these it looks like just regular people, some young, some middle aged, some even older, which probably really represents the majority of the demographic of people out there who, but they just don't protest because they're too busy. They have lives. All right, they have lives. Um, Anyways, I'll get into that a little bit later. The reason you don't see this huge protest like you see on the radical left is because people are busy. They got responsibilities. They have a mortgage. They have children to take care of. They probably still have their jobs, and so they don't have time to, you know, uh, protest really, and also there's no reason for them to protest. Anyways, so let's talk about the Twitter hack. So the Twitter hack, wow, wow. The amazing thing is, a lot of people got hacked, especially verified. It seemed like an inside job. Interesting enough is that Donald Trump didn't get hacked. You think that these people who have unfeathered access to verified accounts, they would go into Donald Trump's account and do the Bitcoin scam. Send me Bitcoin, I'll send you double Bitcoin. Total scam. Um, but anyways, I found that very interesting. Certain groups of people got hacked, and other groups did not. Why was that? Why is that? And also the other thing is, it seems like there were some screenshots showing that Twitter does shadow ban and protect some accounts. They have the ability to do that, even though they've said they don't do that. So that was very alarming. And the whole Bitcoin scam to it. So what does that all mean? Well, I think there are I believe that there is an invisible army. Now, they're invisible because you can't touch them, you can't push them out, you can't silence them. They're there and they'll do whatever they think needs to be done. And that's the invisible army, unstoppable. I'll share a story with you. Back in my Bitcoin days, I was contacted by someone who's anonymous, an Anon, and it was back in the Bitcoin days, so I was heavy into Bitcoin, and I think this is during I think it was during the presidential campaign or before 2016, and I told the Anon to go to Trump Tower, go to Trump Tower and speak with Donnie. All right. I think I even gave a certain floor, the 50. I'm not sure what floor I gave them, 55th floor or something like that. I don't recall. I don't even have my old um, text messaging is on the other older phone stored away. And next thing I know, Donald Trump became president. That was kind of eerie for me. That was like a foreshadow. So this invisible army is very powerful, and so the fact that Donald Trump's account was not hacked, supposedly, maybe they looked into it. Apparently, a lot of personal information was downloaded. So it'll be interesting. It's very interesting to see. All right, what's going to happen? Where that information is, where this information is going to lead to. All right, a lot of personal information downloaded, a lot of contact information, a lot of private messages. Very serious here. So the invisible army, it's real. It's real, and it's very powerful. And the invisible army can't be stopped. Now, it could be one person, it could be one group of people, it could be a large group of people, it could be many groups of people and many large groups of people. So, you know, I almost have to say it seems like a QAnon thing, but maybe not. Maybe this is some other movement. Again, the invisible army, very powerful force, can't be stopped. It's not like you can go to a protest and these people are going to be overshadowed by another group. They have access, they have unfettered access to whatever they want. That's how powerful they are. All right, so the other thing is, because it's Bitcoin related, this is also a signal. All right, this is a signal. This is a call. It's a calling sign. And you most likely, there's a couple things in Bitcoin if you don't know. Every about 4 years, the mining reward half goes to half. I think, what is it, like six and a half Bitcoins are rewarded through mining now. It's like 3.25. So that the halving already started. Now you got the signal or the calling for Bitcoin. I would anticipate the price of Bitcoin to start skyrocketing. That's what I anticipate. The Bitcoin scammings are probably going to start to increase. The Ponzi schemes, the altcoins are starting to probably most likely will start to increase as well, and that will just only enhance the price of Bitcoin. So anticipate a rise in Bitcoin. All right, that's how I see this Twitter hack Bitcoin scam thing. It's basically a signal, a call for Bitcoin, and also for the invisible army to start taking action. All right, now I'm going to move on to Portland, the Portland CLAT, or the Portland clap. You got the clap? Anyways, man, that didn't last too long. It was one day. It was supposed to be like, the autonomous zone, or the CHOP, or the Chaz, or the Occupy New York City Hall kind of thing. But they got booted real quick. They've been out there for like almost 4 weeks, or maybe even 8 weeks. I mean, they've been out there for a long time protesting out in Portland. Well, they got booted. They got booted hard, and the CLAT didn't look any different than all the other CHOPs and the Chaz and the Occupy City Hall. It looked like a homeless encampment for the most part, graffitied and just trashed. Um, so it looks like the federal government is taking action. All right, and this is where you're going to see the counterinsurgency. So you're seeing the counterinsurgency take place, and it will increase until to the point the insurgency is demolished. The insurgency is crushed. So you're going to start. You're literally seeing, and this is the beginning or the physical beginning. It's already been in the works, but the counterinsurgency, the counter revolution, will be crushing the revolution or the insurgency. And so that's what you're seeing right now, and it will continue until the insurgents are crushed to oblivion. And so for the radical left, this is very bad news for them. Uh, at this point, for the radical left, they only have two options at this point: to go underground, which means to stop the overt protest, stop being vocal and all that, and to go underground, basically to hide and run for the most part, so they can survive to perhaps fight another day, or they can get more violent, more violent. So that would include suicide bombings, um, more violence. All right, more violence. Um, you know, I'm not going to go into what type of. I already mentioned some, but violence. You'll start seeing more violence, and so those are the only two options for the radical left, and also probably a lot of them will be jailed for a long period of time, like terrorists. All right, uh, some of them may even be killed because if they do get violent, they may be killed in the process. And so that's the only option for the left at this point. Um, being moderate, they to go to become moderate. I don't think it's possible for them in the near future. Maybe in the longer term, for the radical left, the extreme radical left, to become moderate and then start participating politically into the system to make change. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. They've already painted themselves into a corner, so they can't become moderate at this point in time. To become moderate would mean defeat, and no one would really take them seriously anyway. And so they would become marginalized, ostracized. Okay, and then as far as like these fully rioted, geared federal officers driving around in black unmarked vans arresting protesters, I saw one video of that, and here's my take on it. I mean, a lot of times when you have a informant, all right, an informant or an undercover agent um, working, oftentimes for them to be arrested is very normal to be taken in. Now, the reason why they're being taken in or it's made to look like they're being arrested, all right, or they get arrested, is to obviously make it look like they're being arrested. But really what they're doing is they're just retrieving their informant, they're retrieving their asset, bringing them in to get intel, all right, to get an update. And so it wouldn't surprise me that the people who've been arrested, all right, were informants or agents, okay, and they're just retrieving them for the purposes of being, I guess you could say, interrogated, but really to get the intel on what's going on, and they'll be re-released. Now, not all of them are really agents, not all of them are informants, but that's probably what's going on in my opinion. Just in my opinion, some of them are probably just being arrested. So again, you're seeing the radical left fighting. They're probably going to start fighting each other, or they're going to start doubting their members, because now you do have infiltration in the radical left. There's no doubt about it. Um, that's just how it works. The radical left, or these groups of people, Antifa, whatever, they are totally untrained, totally unprepared for the counterinsurgency. All right, they've had it one way, their way, so far because they were allowed to. Now they're starting to become a nuisance to the point now that they're basically being targeted, and informants, agents, traitors within your own ranks, they're going to be attacking each other. They're going to be eating each other alive, literally at this point. So it doesn't look good for the radical left. All right, last thing, the Black Lives Matter mural, quote unquote mural, all right, vandalized for a second time. This time by people who stuck around, all right. And these people, some of them were black, some of them were white, all right. I think a few women, and these weren't like your young radical, you know, feminist. These were just probably ordinary people. These aren't the radical right, you know, young crusaders, Nazis, and fascists that you would hear about. These are just regular people, middle-aged women who are defacing the Black Lives Matter mural with blue paint, saying "Blue Lives Matter, all lives matter." And so I think they represent a population that is getting pretty tired. And they probably represent the majority of that population. It's just that the segment of the group of people, all right, that don't protest, that don't say anything, they're too busy. They got better things to do with their lives. They have children, they have houses, they have jobs, they have responsibilities. They just can't, get arrested 5 times or end up going to jail for 20 years. That's why you're not seeing people protest, right? The other side protesting. And you're starting to see some. You're starting to see people, and if you notice, they all look a little old, because these people probably are retired and they're just tired of what's going on. You're not seeing the majority, because the majority of the population are too busy for the nonsense. And when it comes time, they're going to vote. They are also going to give support, all right, for the police when it comes time to root out the radical left. All right, you're not going to see anybody crying over a radical left going to jail, or perhaps even given the death sentence, depending on how violent they get. And so, again, the second time, the first time, it was painted over red, which I thought it was kind of fake. I thought um, it looked kind of fake, because the way the video was done, it was just somebody just happens to be there with the video, and then the person walks up and spills red paint and runs off. No one chases after that person. It was kind of weird. I thought it looked fake to antagonize, you know, to make agitation. But the second one, that was genuine, that was real, and these people, these women, white and black, wearing all lives matter, blue lives matter, stuck around to be arrested to make a point. That's a true demonstration. That's a true protest. Anyways, I'm gonna conclude this episode here. I think everything you're seeing now is the counter insurgency, the counter revolution, uprising against the insurgency, the revolution, and it will most likely crush this insurgency that you're seeing in Portland and Chicago and wherever, New York. It's probably going to crush. It's just the beginning of this counterinsurgency. It's probably going to start growing, and most likely it will overtake the insurgency. Anyways, I'm going to conclude this episode. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about all this. Until next time, everyone, stay tuned. Bye.